Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering what is a ghostwriter. You might think that ghostwriting is a solo venture, but it's a lot more collaborative than you think. By the end of this video, you will learn the forms that ghostwriting can take, the importance of capturing someone's voice, and the ultimate goal of ghostwriting. And stay tuned until the end of the video for a free gift. Let's dive in. When I think about ghostwriters, I think of the person behind the person. These are the hidden professionals that do work often for money, less often for credit. I've ghostwritten on articles, on books, on essays, on LinkedIn posts, on so many different things. And it's interesting when someone else posts something that you wrote that they're being credited for, that their name is attached to. It's an interesting process because early in my career, I was a newspaper reporter and I had my name attached to everything I wrote. Every single day, my name was in the newspaper. So it was really fascinating to get that part of the process. And then as a book ghostwriter, it's a lot less common to get my name out there. And sometimes I do. Sometimes somebody will credit me or I will be publicly acknowledged for working on this book. But a lot of times I'm not. And it's fascinating. It's fascinating to be on both sides of that equation. The credit topic is an interesting one with ghostwriting because a lot of times ghostwriters aren't credited. And that process of whether to name or not name a ghostwriter is typically ironed out in the contract phase. When you start working with a ghostwriter and collaborating with them, you get to decide based on the contract, based on the parameters, if they will be credited or not. You know, there's obviously forums where they would be credited, and then there's types of ghostwriting that wouldn't be credited. When you author an essay or an article, for example, or post to LinkedIn, it doesn't make sense to then credit your ghostwriter because they are doing the work and you are getting the credit. But there's obviously a collaboration that's involved. With books, you can credit them after the fact even, publicly on LinkedIn. You know, thank you for your help. This has been really special to work together and write this book. The most important role of a ghostwriter and the most difficult thing to capture is an author's voice, getting their voice right. This isn't about just writing and writing in your style. This is about writing in somebody else's style. This is about capturing their voice, their sentiments, their story, and telling it in a way that's authentic. It's always special for me when I work with authors on books, and after the fact, they'll say, I didn't even know that you wrote this. I felt like I wrote this myself. It's such a special thing when that happens, and I really pride myself on that. You know, and the way that I'm able to capture somebody's voice is by talking with them, by actually sitting down and talking to them and capturing the way that they phrase things, their special, unique phrases and sayings, and sprinkling them in. You know, and the more time that you work with somebody, the more that you capture their essence. I have one of my clients I work with, and they do thought leader essays, and they ask a lot of questions in the text, little punchy sentences that break things up a little bit. So I'm really tuned into making sure that I sprinkle those into the text too. You know, I look for opportunities to really focus in on their unique talents and skills and bring them forward. And, you know, with other clients, I have completely different approaches, you know, because everybody's voice is different. Everybody's writing voice is different. Everybody sounds different on the page. The goal of ghostwriting isn't for all of my clients to sound like me. Only I should sound like me. The goal of my collaborations with ghostwriting are to make sure that the people I work with sound like their best version of themselves. You know, they've gotten good sleep, they're refreshed, they're ready to take on the day, their sharpest, strongest writing. That's my goal. My goal is to bring out the best version of their stories. Ghostwriting can take lots of forms. Social media posts are often ghostwritten, especially from thought leaders and celebrities. So when you get a response from somebody on social media that's famous, that has a lot of attention on them, and they're saying thank you for your post, or they're, you know, posting something else, typically it's probably written by somebody else or in tandem with somebody else. Books, articles, speeches, music. There's so many different forms of ghostwriting. And for me, it really means that you're bringing smart collaborators to the table to work with you. When you're working with a ghostwriter, in whatever form you're working with, it really means that you're committed to getting the story right. It means that you're committed to storytelling. It means you're committed to being your best version of yourself. And I just think that's an awesome thing. I don't think that should be frowned upon. The best ghostwriting projects I've worked on have been super collaborative, and they've involved people who've already written books themselves. I love that. The fact that they actually know how to write a book, they've written good books. I love the fact that somebody could have written a book, a really good book, even a best-selling book, and turned around and said, the story I'm telling now is a lot more difficult and I need help. I had a client like that. His name is Rich, and he has such a powerful story to tell. And it was fascinating because he's written multiple books on his own. He had this really powerful and really sensitive family story he wanted to tell that was a departure from his typical business books and leadership books. And it was awesome to collaborate with him and to bring my best to the table. Other collaborators brought their best to the table. Rich brought his best to the table. And collectively, cohesively, we brought out the best story possible. But it really took a lot of time, and it was interesting because there were points in time where I was guiding the writing, and there were points in time when he was guiding the writing, and really refining it and punching it up even more. It took on something different. It took on something special and unique that went beyond just book ghostwriting. There was something bigger there, and I love the collaboration. I love the collaborative element of it. The fact that we could all bring our best to the table and tell the best version of the story. Typically, when I work on a book as a ghostwriter, it means that I am meeting with the author. We are talking through every single aspect of the book, recording those conversations and using those conversations to then build out chapters. Other than meetings, the person I'm collaborating with could bring other elements to the table. Maybe they've done writing themselves. Maybe they have audio recordings. It's really just a good give and take, and it's an awesome process to be able to kind of sift through the stories that they want to tell and figure out the best way to bring them forward. When I'm ghostwriting a book, it really follows a structured give and take process. I feel like it's almost like waves crashing on the beach or riding a bicycle. And it's this constant pedaling, it's this constant motion, it's this constant pace of meetings and deliveries of this synchronicity in place. And it's just so special to be able to see that. So at the beginning of the process, we will collaborate and talk about the bigger picture of the book. What are the things we want to accomplish? What are their goals for the book? What kind of story arc is the story that we want to tell? Who are we targeting? Who is the target audience? Because if you don't have the audience in mind, your book is going to struggle. Your book is going to stumble. Your book is never going to find its exact power. It's going to fall short of your expectations. So understanding what you want to say, understanding who you're focusing on reaching, and the bigger picture goals are so valuable. And then from there, it really becomes a chapter by chapter process. So we could start meeting, talking about chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. And then by that point, I will have written a draft of chapter 1. And then we can talk through chapter 1, and then we can focus on chapter 2 and chapter 3 on forward, and then lo and behold, 3 months later, we have a full draft, because we're writing one chapter a week and meeting once a week and just having this consistent process of meetings and deliveries. The thing I love too is when there's those stumbling points, when there's those sticking points, when there's those crises, we can talk through them. So many times when you're writing a book, as an author, whether you're working by yourself or with a ghostwriter, you want to give up. You want to walk away. Why am I doing this? This is a huge commitment of time, effort, energy, money, whatever the case may be. You want to quit. You want to walk away. Maybe you have imposter syndrome and you feel like you don't quite have the right story to tell. Maybe you're not the person to tell this story. I've been there myself as a book writer. I've spent years and years writing some books and along the way feeling like I didn't ultimately deserve to be writing this, that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't the right person to write this book. So I understand what that feels like. And ultimately, I think working through those feelings of imposter syndrome and working with a book ghostwriter can help you get past that point, can help you move forward in clarity and in confidence. You want to move forward in confidence with your book. You want to believe in it. And I think having that person to bounce ideas off of is so important because you can kind of get those feelings out of the way as you're writing the book. You can cast aside those fears and push forward in confidence and move forward with clarity. I love that. I love being able to talk through problems when I deal with an author, I work with an author, and they don't believe in a chapter or they're struggling about something, and we can just talk it through. Maybe there is something there, but it's worth exploring. It's worth figuring it out. And that's one of the more important elements of book ghostwriting. It's not enough just to write the book. It's about working through our own feelings of that we're not good enough, or feelings that we don't deserve to be writing this book. I think you do deserve to be writing this book, and I think that you have a unique story and a unique message, and it's important to get that out. It's important to tell that story, because doing so can help you take the next step. Whether you're a thought leader, whether you're a CEO, whether you're somebody who just wants to tell a story, to capture something, to leave a legacy behind, it's so valuable to be able to get those words down and to collaborate with somebody who can help you along the way. Not just in holding your hand and getting you to that next step, but helping you believe in the book and helping you bring the best to it. I remember when I was a kid, this is going back, I think I was like 8 years old, and my parents got me a Lego ship for Christmas or my birthday. And my mom wanted to help me put it together, and I ended up doing it myself. And I put the stickers on myself, and they were in all the wrong places. And I still go back to that a lot in my book Ghostwriting today. I think about that Lego ship, and I was like, if I just waited and worked with my mom, who actually knew how to put the stickers on the right places, it would have looked better. Yeah, I did it myself, but it's not as good. And at the end of the day with a book, your name's gonna be on it either way. There's no shame in asking for help and getting help in the book writing process. In fact, it's gonna help you in so many ways. The worst thing you could do is put yourself out there and write a book that's not quite ready or not quite up to the standards that you have for yourself, that you're gonna somehow see it short of expectations and short of goals. You want it to be the best book. If you're gonna put yourself out there and write this book, you want it to be the best it can be, and working with the book Ghostwriter can help get you there. All right, since you watched this video about ghostwriting, you're obviously interested in the book process. I'd love for you to schedule a free call with me. Go ahead and visit goodghostwriter.com. Just click the link below. Schedule a call with me and we can talk all about the book writing process and the challenges you're facing, and see if book ghostwriting is right for you, or if there's another solution that can help you get to where you need to be. I've worked with hundreds of authors, and I'd love to help point you in the right direction too. Remember, good ghostwriting makes great books. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.